Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to cut through the noise, get you truly well informed on today's most impactful topics. And today, we're diving deep into something everyone's talking about: artificial intelligence hitting the legal profession. This isn't sci fi anymore, is it? It's here now, and it's really changing how legal services work, what being a lawyer even, means. So, our mission today is to unpack all of that, the huge benefits AI can bring, sure, but also the serious challenges, the risks. We'll look at how it's changing the human side of law and why we absolutely need strong rules, strong governance around this. We've dug into a lot of material, detailed reports, big legal surveys, basically giving you the shortcut to really understanding this. Now, you might be thinking, okay, how can AI possibly handle something as nuanced, as complex as law? Well, you're going to hear about cases where it's saving, thousands of hours, but also cases where it's landed lawyers in hot water with the courts. It really is a double-edged sword, and we're going to look closely at both sides.
It's quite something. The speed of this shift. AI wasn't even central a few years ago. A curiosity, maybe? But now, our sources are calling it a core disruptive force. It's fundamentally changing legal practice, how lawyers develop, the business models, everything. For law firms, general counsels, anyone in legal ops, engaging with AI strategically. It's not really optional now. It's pretty much essential for survival, for success.
A mandate for survival. Wow, that's strong. Okay, let's break that down. How is it automating the core legal tasks? The first thing seems to be taking over those routine, really time-consuming jobs, right? Freeing up lawyers.
Exactly. It frees them up from the, let's call it the drudgery, allowing more time for complex analysis, strategic thinking, actually talking to clients. We're seeing generative AI, these large language models, drafting initial versions of contracts, motions,
Yeah.
things like that.
And how big a deal is that, practically speaking?
Oh, the productivity lift is, it's quite dramatic. Think about drafting a motion. Maybe that takes a junior associate, 10 hours? Sources suggest AI can get a first draft going in maybe 15 minutes. Just initiate it and draft it.
15 minutes versus 10 hours.
Yeah, and it's catching on. A 2023 Bloomberg Law survey found 58% of legal pros are already using Gen AI for drafting communications.
Yeah.
But it's not just speed, it's the economic leverage that's fascinating.
Right, and that's where the numbers just pop. Thomson Reuters 2024 report predicting AI could free up 4 hours a week per legal professional, maybe 5 in 2025. You do the math on that. It's roughly $100,000 in, potential new billable time per lawyer each year.
Huge numbers.
Yeah, or like $32 billion combined for the legal and tax sectors. So it's not just faster work, it's fundamentally changing the value equation, turning time-based costs into, value opportunities, unlocking huge potential. And the tech behind it is machine learning, natural language processing.
That's the engine, yes. ML and NLP. Think of it like AI learning to read, to understand legal language, spotting patterns in vast amounts of text. It allows the AI to get the nuance, predict what word comes next, generate coherent text. This capability was key for e-discovery early on.
E-discovery. I remember the days of paralegals and boxes. Now that shift from keyword searches to predictive coding, or TAR, that really took off partly because the rules around electronic evidence changed, didn't they? Forcing the issue almost.
It did. Manual review just couldn't scale with digital data. So instead of people sifting through millions of documents, an AI learns from a sample set reviewed by a senior lawyer. Then it applies that logic to the whole pile. Much faster, cheaper.
And the savings?
Significant. We're seeing figures like 60–80% cost reduction in document review, and arguably it's more accurate sometimes. AI spots patterns humans might miss.
And the new platforms integrate generative AI, too.
Right. Tools where you can just ask questions in plain English. Show me the timeline for this case, translate this, summarize these depositions, like an AI assistant.
That ability to process unstructured data, like audio, video, making it searchable, that's powerful. And it applies to contracts, too. Contract intelligence.
Very much so. AI-powered contract lifecycle management, or CLM systems. They use NLP and ML to chew through thousands of agreements incredibly fast.
Tools like Kira Systems, Logix, they're extracting key clauses, dates, terms.
Yes, but they go deeper now. Risk scoring, comparing your clauses against market standards, giving lawyers that crucial context.
Is there solid ROI evidence?
Oh, definitely. Look at Orange Theory Fitness. They used AI, standardized over 1,000 franchise agreements, cut review time by 80%. Or the classic example, JP Morgan Chase's Coran platform.
Yeah.
Analyzed 12,000 credit agreements in seconds. Seconds.
And that used to take
About 360,000 hours of manual work a year.
wow, 360,000 hours to seconds. That's not just efficiency, that's transformative.
It really is a total rethink of what's possible.
And that brings up explainable AI, XAI. You mentioned AI can be a black box, hard to see the reasoning. XAI aims for transparency. Why is that so vital in law?
Trust, mainly, and competence. If a lawyer uses an AI tool, they need to understand why it suggested something to properly advise their client, ethically, professionally. Beyond contracts, you also have predictive analytics. AI crunching historical data case outcomes, judge rulings, settlements to forecast future results.
Turning data into strategy.
Exactly. Helping lawyers gauge case strength, predict success odds, even simulating opponent arguments or optimizing firm staffing and pricing for proposals.
So how does all this tech impact the actual client relationship?
Mostly positively, it seems. Better handling of data, faster responses, fewer errors. Those are top benefits cited. And things like AI chatbots offering 247 basic answers or helping generate standard documents. That's a step up in service.
And the bigger picture, access to justice. Does AI help there?
Potentially, yes.
Right.
By lowering costs, it could make legal help more affordable. That do not pay chatbot helping with parking fines is one example. Maybe small scale, but indicative.
Some experts even predict routine legal work might become fixed fee, maybe even free eventually.
That's the prediction. And you see tech companies aiming to offer advanced AI tools to legal aid, trying to bridge that huge justice gap where so many low-income individuals lack legal help.
It's a massive problem, that gap.
It is. And there's this concept of a compounding advantage for firms that invest early.
How does that work?
Initial AI used generates data. That data trains better firm-specific AI models, which leads to competitive edges, maybe shifting to value-based pricing, attracting more work, which further refines the AI. It becomes a virtuous cycle. And it merges legal practice with business operations. Legal ops becomes key to profitability.
Okay, so the potential is enormous. But like you said, double-edged sword. Let's talk about the other edge, the challenges, the risks. The big one seems to be accuracy, especially with generative AI, these hallucinations.
Yes, that's probably the single biggest barrier to trust right now. AI confidently making things up. Plausible, but false. Even citing non-existent court cases.
And this isn't just theory, right? It's happened.
Oh, absolutely. Famously, the Madhavi Avianca case in 2023. Two New York lawyers sanctioned, fined $5,000. Their brief cited 6 completely fake cases generated by ChatGPT.
Ouch.
And it wasn't isolated. Similar things in Texas, Wyoming. Michael Cohen apparently used fake cases from Google Bard. It highlights a critical misunderstanding. These models, LLMs, they're language predictors, like super autocomplete, not databases of facts. They generate statistically likely text, not verified truth. If there's a gap, they fill it plausibly, but maybe baselessly.
Stanford found they hallucinate in, 75% of responses about court rulings?
Something like that, yes.
Yeah.
Which underscores the point. Blindly trusting AI output without verification, that's a serious professional mistake. Violates basic duties of competence, candor.
Competence and candor, okay.
Yeah.
But accuracy isn't the only worry. There's algorithmic bias, too.
Right. AI learns from the data it's fed. If
Yeah.
that data reflects historical biases, racial, gender, whatever the AI can learn, and even amplify those biases.
Like predictive policing targeting certain areas or hiring tools favoring specific demographics.
Exactly those kinds of examples.
Mm.
In law, think about AI risk tools for bail or sentencing. If the historical data is biased, the AI could perpetuate injustice. And the black box problem makes it worse. If you can't see why the AI recommended something, how do you check for bias?
So what's the fix? Better data audits.
All of the above. High-quality, diverse data. Regular audits. Transparency about how AI is being used, it's complex.
And then there's confidentiality. Huge in law. Using public AI tools seems like a massive risk there.
A massive, unacceptable risk. Platforms like free ChatGPT might use your input, which could include confidential client details to train their models. That data could become discoverable.
So you could accidentally breach confidentiality, waive attorney-client privilege.
Precisely. Leading to discipline, maybe huge fines under regulations like GDPR. Clients are rightly concerned. That ABA survey found almost half of lawyers worry about AI data privacy.
The solution seems obvious then. Don't use public tools for client work.
Absolutely essential. Stick to legal-specific platforms from vendors you trust, who give contractual guarantees on data security. Or, like some firms, build your own in-house tools.
Even with all that, adoption seems slow. You mentioned an implementation reality gap. 80% see the impacts, but only 29% expect big changes soon.
Yeah, it's a significant gap.
Why? If the benefits are clear, why the lag? Is it just cost?
Cost is part of it, yes. About 22% cite cost in ROI. And that efficiency paradox is real. If AI cuts billable hours, how does that hit revenue?
Yeah.
But it's more than cost. Lack of a clear strategy is huge. Firms dabbling versus having a plan,
Yeah.
those with a plan are 3.5 times more likely to see benefit.
Makes sense.
But then there's the skills gap. 64% of legal pros haven't had AI training. People are unfamiliar, maybe intimidated. Plus, the legal culture is traditionally conservative, resistant to big workflow changes.
And failed pilot projects don't help build confidence.
Exactly. An estimated 80% failure rate for AI pilots makes firms understandably cautious.
And those lawyers caught using fake AI cases. That really shines a light on a lack of tech literacy across the profession, doesn't it?
It does. A dangerous misunderstanding of the tech. It's why some courts now require lawyers to disclose if they used AI. The duty of competence pretty clearly includes AI literacy now.
And you mentioned these risks are all connected.
Deeply. Bias can lead to transparency issues, which cause accuracy problems, which attract regulators. You have to manage it holistically.
So this all profoundly impacts the lawyers themselves, the human element. If AI handles routine stuff, the lawyer's value shifts.
Completely. It shifts to the uniquely human skills. Strategic insight, critical judgment, creative problem solving, empathy, building client trust. The lawyer becomes more of a sophisticated editor, a supervisor, a strategist guiding the AI.
The 80-20 inversion you mentioned, flipping from 80% info gathering to 80% strategic work.
That's the idea, which means new skills become vital. AI literacy, knowing what it can and can't do, and prompt engineering, knowing how to ask the AI the right questions to get useful answers.
But if AI does the basic work, what about training junior lawyers? That junior associate paradox.
That's a major concern. Document review, basic research. That's how juniors traditionally learn the ropes. AI automates that.
So it's good because they get to interesting work faster, but bad because they might mix foundational skills.
Exactly. Chief Justice Roberts even raised this: how do we train future lawyers and judges if machines do the early work? Firms need new training models.
Like AI simulations for practice, AI coaches, blind reviews.
Ideas like that, yes, they have to be proactive. And this ties into rethinking the whole business model. The billable hour seems doomed. It's certainly under immense pressure. That efficiency paradox again. If AI does a 10-hour task in 15 minutes, billing hourly feels wrong, unsustainable.
So firms have to move to alternative fee arrangements, flat fees, value-based pricing.
The pressure is immense, and the data shows firms already heavy on flat fees are the biggest AI adopters. It makes sense.
But that transition isn't easy. Requires understanding costs, managing projects differently.
Definitely. Need good data, new skills and analysis. Hybrid models are probably the path for many firms initially.
Okay, the big question. Will AI replace lawyers? Job losses.
The consensus is overwhelmingly no. It's augmentation, not replacement. The saying holds, AI won't replace lawyers, but lawyers using AI will replace those who don't.
Goldman Sachs estimated 44% of legal tasks could be automated.
Tasks, exactly. Not entire jobs. AI handles routine parts. Humans do the complex, strategic thinking. Now, roles heavy on routine data processing, some paralegal functions, perhaps those are most likely to evolve. Towards supervising AI, higher level support.
But new roles are emerging too. AI specialists, trainers, auditors, legal prompt engineers.
Yes, absolutely. And this leads to an unbundling of skills, separating the process of law from the judgment.
Interesting. So you might hire someone just for their prompt wizard skills, separate from client relationship skills.
Potentially. And this could polarize the market. You'll have tech-driven firms, ALSPs, doing high-volume, lower-cost work efficiently with AI, and then elite firms focusing on high-stakes, bespoke advice where human judgment is irreplaceable.
Squeezing the middle market.
That's the fear or prediction. Firms in the middle might have to choose, become an efficiency machine or a high-value strategic advisor.
Given all these massive shifts, governance becomes critical. How is regulation shaping up?
It's a patchwork globally. The EU is way out front with its AI Act. First, comprehensive risk-based framework.
And it classifies AI by risk level.
Yes. And crucially, for law, AI used in administration of justice or for legal interpretation falls into the high-risk category.
Meaning strict rules apply.
Very strict. Data governance, transparency, human oversight, accuracy, robustness, mandatory requirements.
And it affects firms outside the EU, too.
Big time. Its reach is extraterritorial. If a U.S. firm uses AI to advise an EU client, they could be subject to the AI Act.
Whereas the U.S. approach is more fragmented,
Okay.
sector by sector.
More decentralized, yes, relying on existing laws, agency guidance like from the FTC or EEOC, plus White House directives which are mostly non-binding. The American Bar Association provides ethical guidance, stressing human control, accountability, and applying existing rules like competence and confidentiality to AI use.
Which brings up liability. If an AI makes a mistake, who's responsible? The developer, the firm, the lawyer.
That's the multi-billion-dollar question, and it's largely unsettled. The AI's black box nature makes tracing fault difficult. We're seeing existing legal theories, negligence, product liability being stretched. The EU is specifically including software AI in its updated product liability rules. Breach of contract might apply against vendors, but they use disclaimers.
But ultimately, the buck stops with
The human lawyer. That's the clear professional consensus right now. You cannot delegate your professional judgment or ethical duties to an algorithm, period.
So for firms, the takeaway is get your internal governance sorted now.
Absolutely. A formal, proactive AI governance framework is essential risk management.
Key components being
Clear accountability, maybe an AI committee. Comprehensive policies and mandatory training, especially on privacy, confidentiality, and verification. Rigorous vetting of tech vendors, stick to legal-specific trusted providers, and ongoing monitoring and auditing.
It sounds like the EU AI Act might just become the global standard by default, like GDPR did for data privacy.
Very likely. Global tech vendors will probably build to that higher standard anyway, which means features like transparency and human oversight become baseline expectations. And this whole liability headache, this need for accountability, will push the market towards explainable AI, the XAI we talked about.
Because the computer did it isn't a legal defense.
Exactly. Lawyers need traceable reasoning. Risk management demands it, so the market will supply it eventually.
Okay, let's pull this together. Looking ahead, what are the absolute must-do strategic recommendations for firms, for lawyers navigating this?
First, develop a real AI strategy. Move past random experiments. Link AI adoption to clear business goals. Remember, strategy makes you 3.5 times more likely to see benefits and involve everyone leadership, practice heads, IT, legal ops. Start by finding those high-cost, low-efficiency areas where AI can make a quick, measurable difference.
Second, invest in your people. That skills gap is real. Train for AI literacy capabilities, limits, ethics. Teach lawyers to be critical users, not just consumers, of AI output. And cultivate those new skills. Develop your prompt wizards. Address the junior associate training issue head-on with new methods.
Third, nail down the governance. That checklist is vital. Clear policies, especially on confidentiality, mandatory verification. Vet vendors like your license depends on it because it might. Prohibit consumer-grade AI for client work. Institute a zero-trust policy for AI output. A human lawyer must meticulously review and verify substantive work. That's your best defense against hallucinations.
Protect client data obsessively.
Obsessively, and designate someone or a committee to oversee AI governance, track regulations like the EU Act, and keep policies current.
And finally, future-proof the business model.
Yes, except that the billable hours days are numbered, at least for work AI can accelerate. Start piloting alternative fee arrangements now to build expertise. And frame AI's value to clients correctly. It's about better, faster, more strategic advice, not just cutting costs. Invest in legal ops and data analytics to prove that value.
Okay. We've covered a huge amount. AI is clearly set to transform law-shifting lawyers from task-doers to strategists, unbundling skills. So maybe the final thought for you, the listener, to ponder is this. As AI keeps automating and specializing legal work, how does this shift redefine the very essence of being a lawyer? What uniquely human qualities will be the most valuable for those who truly thrive in this new landscape?